Hi everybody, Joey here again and welcome back.
Hi everybody, Joey here again and welcome back. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make a cheap and easy aquarium stand.
So 13 years ago, I said that on the other side of this wall. Right here, where my wife's current fish room is. But as you guys know, we have to move all of these fish tanks. And like I said, 13 years later, we're building a similar concrete block stand, yet this time, it's double stacked. YouTube was a different beast back then. 13 years ago, they needed 3 to 5 minute videos. You have to play the game. I didn't get to say a lot of the things I wanted to say, but in today's video, you're darn right I'm going to. First and foremost, what is the strength of a concrete block? Most concrete blocks are rated on average around 1,000 PSI. PSI means pounds per square inch. Concrete blocks are rated at about 1,000 pounds per square inch. And if you look, they're only about an inch thick. But if you do the math, which I hate to do, it's about 28 square inches times 1,000, 28,000 pounds per block. 56,000 pounds of weight can be put on this before it's compromised. I can assure you, you don't know anything that's 56,000 pounds, unless you know who my ex is. There are some downsides to the concrete blocks. First and foremost, before you put your tanks on, you should shim them and or level them. So once you put your first 2 blocks down, we want to take a level or some sort of board that goes across that we can put the level on so we can put the shims underneath the tank. I was lucky enough to not have to do this. If I did have to, you have the options of shimming underneath the concrete block, but my preference is to shim underneath the wood. I would do this because it's much easier to adjust and you're not going to scratch your floor. However, it's not going to look as fluid. You might have a little gap here, so you might want to consider shimming and or leveling the stand in advance, which we also showed you a video on 13 years ago. The last time we built this stand, we built it for a glass aquarium, and if it was a glass aquarium, we wouldn't need these 2x6s. The reason being is simple. We could just put a piece of board here because we only need the 4 corners of the aquarium to touch. This will make sure that the aquarium doesn't twist or leak. When that twisting comes, the leaking starts. You might think, well, why wouldn't you support this? Most glass aquariums have a lip underneath of them. Nothing's really supporting this but the corners of the trim. However, this time we're doing an acrylic aquarium which needs a full bottom brace, which means I need to support the majority of it. Now these aquariums are 16 inches wide, but so are the blocks, so I lucked out. They're also 8 inches tall and about 6 inches wide. These are like these skinny little blocks. Does it matter what size blocks you need or use? It's up to you. I used the big 8-inch blocks before and the 6-inch, and I'm leaning towards the 6-inch. And Tamara's gonna hate me, but it's the first time that I would have said smaller is better. Only because it saves space saving, and there's absolutely no way we're gonna put enough weight on here to break this stand. Unless my ex sits on it. Okay, that's enough of the ex jokes. You're gonna need to consider a few things when creating these stacked tanks. First and foremost, these aren't cemented together. The paint that you paint these with, and I highly suggest you paint them, will hold them together a little bit, but we are dealing with live weight. Live weight means what's ever in the container or whatever you're putting on here is fluid, meaning that it can move around and slosh around. As much turbulence that you add to the aquarium doesn't mean that it tips, but we all can bump into a tank. However, I've heard people going through earthquakes and these being successful and holding up the tanks long term. Still, I don't like going higher than 3 tanks in a rack anyways. That's because the bottom tank's got to sit on the floor, the middle tank's like around here, and the problem is we don't have enough room in between the tanks to either properly scape or access them. So the bare minimum that I would do is around 8 inches, and I'll tell you why. When deciding when your tank is in here and how much accessible room you should have, in my opinion, it should be the width of your head. Because what if you kind of got to get in there? The width of your head is probably around 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches, add a couple of inches. So if your head's 6 inches wide, then make it 8. And because these blocks are around 8 inches tall, and the tank that I'm putting on here is 16, the next tank is here. It gives us enough room to get in, escape it, put our head in if we have to, have lights above it, and that's an important factor when building one of these aquarium stands. As for thickness of wood, when it comes to an acrylic aquarium, we just want as much surface area as we possibly can. We want to support it with more wood than void space. So these are 2x6s, which are technically only 1.5 inch by 5.5 inches, which gives me 11 inches total, meaning that there's only 5 inches of void space. I have more supported than not. So we're not going to get that bowing in any way, whether it's throughout the middle or lengthwise. But you might notice that when you add the blocks or when you put them in place, they kind of shake around and kind of almost rattle, like almost something like a piece of rock is under it. And a lot of the times these blocks are not made perfectly, so you're going to take up your hammer and you're just going to chip at them and bang off those raised places just so these blocks fit perfectly. And once you do that, I'm telling you, these stands aren't going anywhere. And then we get to painting. Now, because this is on Tamara's section and her section is white, mine is black, I suggested we go with a water-based paint because concrete, if not treated, absorbs substantial amount of the first coat. You're going to want to paint it at least twice. And because water-based paints dry faster than oil paints, and they'll absorb into the concrete a lot faster, you'll be able to do those 2 coats of paint within 20 minutes of each other. We went with white on this, and it was only 2 coats, but obviously previously, if you look right here, it used to be gray, but we also did a black paint coat at one point. The most important thing that you want to do before you paint these blocks is they're going to be dusty. So you're going to want to sweep them off. Once you do and you complete your stand, you can paint it to be the color of your house. It kind of gives you an industrial look, more contemporary and or modern, but most importantly, you don't really need many tools. It's simple, it's easy, and of course, most importantly when it comes to do-it-yourself, we're not only getting exactly what we want, but it's cheap as well. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'd also like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for a new do-it-yourself project. With that said, what a fun way to collaborate with old Joey, current Joey, and my wife. I just don't want to hear how old I look now, how my hairline's scared of my face, or how fat I've gotten. And if you say any of that, I'm going to delete those comments. Go say it on her video, which has the extended version if you want to see what the tanks look like on the stand and or what her plans are for them. Link is in the description. Go check it out. But for me, as always, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Leave the video a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you guys in the next video for who knows what. See you next time, guys.
What they say, when they talk about me.